Tulsi Gabbard not only destroyed Mayor Pete in the debate last night, she also destroyed Kamala again. They went back and forth here. This is round two. I would say Ali Frazier, but it's more like Ali and random toddler from the first row watching the fight. So anyway, take a look and then we'll discuss.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you have criticized Hillary Clinton as the, quote, personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party. What is the rot you see in the Democratic Party?
That our Democratic Party, unfortunately, is not the party that is of, by, and for the people. It is a party that has been and continues to be influenced by the foreign policy establishment in Washington, represented by Hillary Clinton and others' foreign policy, by the military-industrial complex and other greedy corporate interests. I'm running for president to be the Democratic nominee that rebuilds our Democratic Party, takes it out of their hands, and truly puts it in the hands of the people of this country, a party that actually hears the voices of Americans who are struggling all across this country, and puts it in the hands of veterans and fellow Americans who are calling for an end to this ongoing Bush-Clinton-Trump foreign policy doctrine of regime change wars, overthrowing dictators in other countries, needlessly sending my brothers and sisters in uniform into harm's way to fight in wars that actually undermine our national security and have cost us thousands of American lives. These are wars that have cost us as American taxpayers trillions of dollars since 9/11 alone, dollars that have come out of our pockets, out of our hospitals, out of our schools, out of our infrastructure needs. As president, I will end this foreign policy, end these regime change wars, work to end this new Cold War and arms race, and instead invest our hard-earned taxpayer dollars actually into serving the needs of the American people right here at home.
Senator Harris, any response?
Oh, sure. I think that it's unfortunate that we have someone on the stage who is attempting to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States, who during the Obama administration spent 4 years full-time on Fox News criticizing President Obama.
That's
who
ridiculous,
has spent full-time criticizing people on this stage as affiliated with the Democratic Party. When Donald Trump was elected, not even sworn in, buddied up to Steve Bannon to get a meeting with Donald Trump in the Trump Tower, fails to call a war criminal by what he is as a war criminal, and then spends full time during the course of this campaign, again, criticizing the Democratic Party. What we need on the stage in November is someone who has the ability to win. And by that, we need someone on that stage who has the ability to go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump, and someone who has the ability to rebuild the Obama coalition and bring the party and the nation together. I believe I am that candidate.
Thank you, Senator. Congresswoman Gabbard, I'll give you a chance to respond.
What Senator Harris is doing is unfortunately continuing to traffic in lies and smears and innuendos because she cannot challenge the substance of the argument that I'm making, the leadership and the change that I'm seeking to bring in our foreign policy, which only makes me guess that she will, as president, continue the status quo, continue the Bush-Clinton-Trump foreign policy of regime change wars, which is deeply destructive. This is personal to me because I served in Iraq. I left my seat in the state legislature in Hawaii, volunteered to deploy to Iraq, where I served in a medical unit where every single day I saw the terribly high human cost of war. I take very seriously the responsibility that the president has to serve as commander-in-chief, to lead our armed forces, and to make sure always, no, I'm not going to put party interests first. I will put the interests of the American people above all else.
Thank you, Congresswoman. I want to briefly give Senator Harris a final second to respond.
I believe that what our nation needs right now is a nominee who can speak to all people. I spent my entire career standing mostly in a courtroom speaking 5 words, Kamala Harris for the people. And it was about all the people, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender, regardless of where they live geographically, regardless of the party with which they're registered to vote or the language their grandmother speaks. We need someone on this debate stage in November who has the ability to unify the country and to win the election. And I believe, again, I am that candidate.
Kamala's ironically saying, like, I'm for all the people there. And meanwhile, she just attacked Tulsi for going on Fox News. When you go on Fox News, you're talking to a new audience. You're talking to a mostly right-wing audience. So that's what Tulsi did. She went and spoke to other people. And you just attacked her for it. So you can't come out and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be for all the people." Really? Then why weren't you just for all the people? Why would you attack somebody for speaking to a different audience then? That's not for all the people. You want to be partisan. You want to be ruthlessly partisan. But by the way, I was standing in a courtroom. Right, yeah, and you were trying to crack down on truancy, and you were also laughing, as you did in 2014, at the idea of legalized recreational marijuana. She laughed at the idea of legalized recreational marijuana in 2014 when she was told her Republican opponent supports that policy. I mean, listen. Embarrassing is what I say there. The main criticisms that Kamala has for Tulsi are, you criticized Obama. Wow, oh my God. You criticize he who shall not be touched. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you can criticize Obama. Now, don't get me wrong. The nature of those criticisms matter. So it's got to be a criticism that's accurate. It's got to be a criticism that makes sense. But the idea that you can't criticize him, are you kidding me? This guy bailed out Wall Street to the tune of $14 trillion. This guy expanded the illegal, unconstitutional NSA spying state, security state. You can't criticize Obama. Criticize Obama, that's immediately bad, wrong, gone. And then appeared on Fox News. Met with Trump. This one got me more pissed off than anything. Because first of all, he's the president of the United States of America. You could pretend like he's not that if you want, but he is that. So the best thing you could possibly do in that instance is try to sway him in a direction that makes sense. So what does she not tell you? She doesn't tell you why Tulsi met with Trump. Tulsi met with Trump to try to get him to end the war in Syria, to end our support of jihadists in Syria. She has a bill called the Stop Arming Terrorists Act, which is like, hey, U.S. has a history of arming jihadists, to fight the people who we don't like for geopolitical reasons, for strategic reasons. How about we no longer arm Al-Qaeda? Only the most common sense position ever in human history. And Kamala Harris attacks her because you, quote, met with Trump. And then she says, Tulsi fails to call a war criminal a war criminal. She's, of course, talking about Assad because all they can do here is bring up Assad. When, of course, Tulsi has repeatedly referred to Assad as, quote, a brutal dictator. But Tulsi correctly points out we shouldn't topple him because he's not a direct threat to the United States of America, and we've been down this road before. Look what happened in Iraq. We toppled a dictator who was no direct threat to us, regardless of what they were saying, no direct threat to us, and then the situation got worse. So, of course, Tulsi's right on the substance. Kamala Harris is dead wrong, and you'll notice there, if you go back and watch, yet again, when Tulsi responds to her cheap shots, Kamala doesn't know where to go. So what does she do? She gives like a weird semi-stump speech where she's like, I'm going to fight for everybody, and I was in a courtroom, and I'm better than her? Has nowhere to go. So yet again, Tulsi does a wonderful job there. I think the exchange with Mayor Pete was honestly even more devastating than this one with Kamala. But that's round two. And, I wonder if Kamala recognizes that Tulsi is the reason she tanked in the polls. Because it all started when Tulsi just, ripped that mask off of Kamala and just ethered her in one of the earlier debates. From then on, she plummeted in the polls. I wonder if Kamala puts the blame on Tulsi. Because if she does, that's awesome.